What are you playing?
A pirate song.
This is a video to demonstrate for parents what types and sizes of guitars that are typical for students to use in the NT Music School's Guitar Ensemble program. The boy to the left is my son. What year are you, sweetie, at school?
I'm in year 3.
Year 3. And how old are you now?
I'm 8.
8 years old. And what is your approximate height?
1 meter and 20 centimeters.
Okay, 1.20 meters. And the girl on the right is my daughter. What year are you at school, sweetie?
Grade 6.
Grade 6. What age are you?
11.
11 years old. And how high are you approximately?
About 140 centimeters.
140 centimeters. Alright. So, in the middle of the guitar field here, we have classical guitars. And on the left is also a classical guitar. They are also known as nylon string guitars because the strings are made of nylon plastic. These guitars are really good for students to use at this young age because young people typically don't have particularly strong muscle growth in their hands to be able to hold the strings down when they're fretting. The guitar that is in my daughter's hand is a steel string guitar. It has steel strings. Because the strings are made of steel, it is much harder for young people to hold those strings down. It is also a lot more difficult to get a suitable quality guitar in the steel string guitar types that are of a suitable action for the ease of young people's playing. So for that reason, we try to recommend that people don't get a steel string guitar. That particular steel string guitar is actually a 3/4 size steel string guitar, or otherwise known as a parlour guitar. Full-size steel string guitars are extremely difficult for young people to use. They're too big in the body, and the action on the metal strings and the strength required to hold those strings down is very difficult for them to use, so they don't develop very fast at all. Nylon strings are really the way to go. So, the guitar on the left, this is a 3/4 size classical guitar, and this is a full-size guitar. We will demonstrate these two different sizes of guitars with my young children here, and you can see what is a suitable size guitar for your young person based on their age and height. My daughter is holding a 3/4 size classical nylon string guitar. She is actually a little bit big for this guitar. Although she can comfortably play it, the sound of this 3/4 size guitar is a little weaker in volume and timbre when compared with the full-size guitar on the right. Let's switch the guitar around so that you can see the example of the full-size guitar on a grade 6 kid. Please position, sweetie, on your right leg. Notice how the guitar is on her right leg. It's a good idea that the student tries to keep the left side of the guitar up, this fretting side, if you have a right-handed guitar, and that their arm, at the fatty portion here of the forearm, is actually resting on that edging of the guitar top, and that it's in line roughly with the bridge dimension there. As you can see, this guitar is actually a better fit for her, and it will have a bigger sound and a much more lovely timbre to the notes that she is playing, so she will enjoy playing the guitar more. It'll sound more like the recordings that she's hearing, and if you play at home with your child, then your child will be able to feel like they sound just like their parents, which is ideal. Please also take note of the fact that my daughter is currently sitting on a chair that's of a suitable height. It is really important that young people have a suitable chair, that they don't play on their bed. Some young people's beds tend to sag, and they're not good for your posture, and they tend to develop postural problems and also technical problems in their hands if they don't sit on an appropriate chair. Here we have my son now. He is holding the full-size nylon string classical guitar. He can hold the guitar, however, he is stretching across his shoulders and some of his fingertips are not quite in the perfect location for playing the guitar. So if he were to move his fingers down to the first position, move your fingers down to this first position, sweetheart. Bring your hand down. You can see he's got quite a stretch going on in his arm here. Ideally, we wouldn't like the student to have to stretch this far. Let's switch this guitar out now for the 3/4 size model. Okay. Yes, that looks much more comfortable. I will correct one little thing though in his posture. It's best that he tries to keep the fattier part of his forearm resting on the edge of the guitar top and the side of the guitar, and roughly in line with the direction the bridge is heading up here. That's good. This is a much better fit for my son, and probably for most students who are in grade 4 or shorter students in grade 5. They can continue playing this guitar as well through school, but probably about the time that they get to middle school they'll need to upgrade the size of the guitar. And also the timbre and the volume of the guitar will need to change because they'll be playing more music that's more challenging and demanding sonically. Also, please take note of the fact that my son is sitting on a chair that is too high for him. Let's switch the chair out so now we can see what he looks like once he's on a chair that's of an appropriate height, where his feet will be able to touch the ground and his posture is at an L-shaped right angle at the hip. Ideally, he'll have his feet resting on the floor and there'll be right angles here in his legs. Now my son is sitting in a chair that's more appropriate for his height. He can reach the guitar comfortably. The fretting hand on his left, our right, the guitar neck is facing up, so he can reach his left hand underneath the guitar. Can you please rotate, sweetie, so we can see the angle of your legs and your back? There we have it, an excellent L shape on the knees and also in the buttock area, and he is holding a good posture. You should be able to play for hours like this. What are you playing, sweetheart?
Bass.
Bass. Bass is a really cool instrument. In fact, it's one of my favourites. The trouble with bass guitar for young people is that the electric versions have solid wood bodies and they don't make much noise. Give us a shot. Can you hear that? I can't either. So they require an amplifier to be carried around with it, a power cable for the amplifier, and a guitar lead to go from the bass to that bass amplifier. When you're at the primary school age, this much equipment is way too heavy for a young person to be carrying around. That's like asking an adult to carry to school, if they were going to school, about 15 to 20 kilos, because young people don't have the muscle mass to carry that much weight around. For this reason, we're recommending that students use a 3/4 size acoustic bass guitar. It's an excellent idea if that bass guitar also has a pickup installed. That way we can plug them in at assemblies and they can be heard over the PA system with the other students. But the advantage of having an acoustic 3/4 size bass guitar is that the 3/4 size makes it more playable, the neck shrinks, it's light enough to carry, and they can hear themselves when they're playing in class or at home, so they can practice without the need of an amplifier. What are these, sweetheart?
These are guitar and bass books for learning guitar good.
Excellent. Alright, and I have here a guitar tuner. There actually are quite a few guitar tuners you can get. You can get incredibly cheap ones, but they're really difficult to work with. I recommend that you get a decent brand, a well-known brand. Something like Diodario or Korg, and there are quite a few other tuners out there. They're at a reasonable price, around about the $25 to $35 mark, but they work well. There are some other cheaper ones and ones in the same price category even, and they just don't work as well. This is essential. You might have a tuner on your phone or on your loved one's iPad at home, such as I do. The trouble with that is, when you're out and the other parent's home, or if your phone is on charge, your young person can't use your phone tuner, although they are handy and I do use them myself. So it is better if they have their own tuner, because they can tune any time they need to practice as well as in class. So the first thing they do when they come in is they get the guitar out and their books out, and they get their tuner and they tune the guitar, and just like that, within 1 minute they're ready to start learning guitar, and there's no mucking around with trying to get a tuner off me or another student. So it is an excellent idea if they can have their own tuner. I hope your child loves learning bass and also acoustic guitar. It certainly is a wonderful program. I enjoy teaching it, as do the other guitar teachers at the NT Music School. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to give us a phone call at the main office or send us an email to our work email addresses.